Dear children, today we are going to study Chapter 7, Experiments with Water. Aisha watched as her mother rolled out a puri and put it in the hot oil. She saw that at first the puri sank to the bottom of the pan. As it puffed up, the puri came up and started floating on the oil. But one puri did not float on the oil. It sank. You must have noticed that a steel plate will sink in a bucket of water, but the cap of a plastic bottle will float. A soap cake will sink, but a soap case will float. Likewise, a boat or a ship can float, but a needle will sink. Why is it so? For example, a puffed puri would float as it is lighter than water, but a steel plate, being heavier, sinks. One day, when Aisha woke up in the morning, her mother had fever. So her father made some tea and went to give medicines to her mother. He told Aisha, "You boil eggs, also put some salt in the water." Aisha took water in a pot. By mistake, she put too much salt in the water. She saw the eggs at the bottom of the pot come up a little and start to float in water. It looked like magic to Aisha. But is it magic? Actually, this happens because water gets heavier when salt has been added in excess amount. And an egg, being lighter in weight, will be able to float on heavier water. The same thing can be done with the lemon as well. In fact, if you layer fresh and salt water, the egg or lemon will stay in the middle. So this is actually not magic, but science. The Dead Sea is a salt lake bordered by the country of Jordan to the east and Israel and the West Bank to the west. It is called the Dead Sea because its high salinity, that is, the amount of salt dissolved in water, which is around 300 grams of salt in 1 liter of water, prevents fish and aquatic plants from living in it. Interestingly, even if a person does not know how to swim, the person would not drown in the sea. They would be able to float in water, as if lying down on it. On Sunday, Aisha's cousin brother, Hamid, came to her house to play. As soon as he came, he asked his aunt to make his favorite shakarpara, a sweet dish. Ami said, "Let me come back from the market, then I will make some for you. Why don't you help me? Take 2 glasses of water and put a bowl of sugar in it. Mix it till it dissolves." Hamid thought, "Let me finish this work fast. Then I will watch TV." Can you suggest some ways to Hamid for quickly dissolving sugar? In the language of science, sugar is the solute, as it is the substance that dissolves and is in a smaller quantity. Water is the solvent, as it is the liquid the solute dissolves in. When solute dissolves in solvent, we get a solution. Dear children, you must have added sugar, salt and lemon juice to water to make lemonade or nimbu pani. So sugar, salt and lemon juice are solutes and water is the solvent. Do you know that water is called as a universal solvent, as it can make solutions with large number of solutes? Also, we can help Hamid. If we grind sugar into a powder or heat up the water, we can make a solution faster. All substances are not soluble in water. If sand or chalk powder or soil or oil are added to the water, they do not mix. Such substances are called insoluble substances. So remember, dear children, substances like sugar and salt are soluble in water, but sand and oil are insoluble substances. If we take 2 glasses of water and in one we add a spoon of salt, but add a spoon of oil in the other, then after some time we can observe that salt, being soluble in water, cannot be seen in the glass, but oil forms a layer above the water. So we can say that oil is insoluble in water, and such substances are called insoluble substances. One day, Aisha's mother put some water to boil on the stove for making tea. She got busy with something and forgot about it. When she remembered and came to check, she found very little water left in the pan. Think, where did the water go? You are right, the water has evaporated. Evaporation is a process where liquids like water change to a gas or water vapor or vapor on getting heated. Do you remember? Chitti Babu and Chinna Babu kept their mango jelly in the sun? Yes, they wanted the water to evaporate so that they could make mango jelly from the mango pulp. In our houses, we use evaporation to dry clothes, make papads, buddies, chips, etc. The heat for this evaporation comes from the sun. Dandi March. This incident took place in 1930, before India became independent. For many years, the British had made a law that did not allow people to make salt themselves. They had also put a heavy tax on salt. By this law, people could not make salt even for use at home. How can anybody live without salt? Gandhiji said. How can a law not allow us to use freely what nature has given? Gandhiji, with several other people, went on a yatra, which is a long walk, from Ahmedabad to the Dandi seashore in Gujarat to protest against this law. He made salt there and was arrested by the Britishers. This march is so called Dandi March or the Salt March. Do you know how salt is made? The sea water, which is full of salt, is collected in shallow beds dug in the sand. Water is allowed to dry in the sun. The sun's heat evaporates the water. After the water dries, the salt remains on the ground and is then collected and cleaned in factories. At the end, I would like you all to answer 3 questions. Question number 1. You have washed your handkerchief and you want to dry it quickly. What all can you do? Question 2. What things do you put in water to make tea? Which of those things dissolves in water? Question number 3. You have been given some mishri pieces, which are lumps of sugar. Suggest some ways to dissolve them quickly. I hope that you all know the answers to these questions. If not, do not worry. You can look up the answers in the learning material that has been provided to you. Do not forget to revise the chapter from the textbook. Happy reading. Hope you enjoyed learning.